Hey, we lot, back for some more news I see, and of course that is Swen backwards. On today's show we've got, it's surprising you don't have a lisp, love. Oh, by Jove, they're coming for our mail, Barbara. And, I've said it before and I'll say it again, don't mess with wasps. But first, why are all the walls glowing red? According to techspot.com, Ashley Class revealed in a TikTok video that she has banned crypto mining from her short-term rentals after an experience at one of her North Carolina properties. The guests in question left the home clean and tidy after their 3-week stay, even awarding it a 5-star rating, and Ashley herself seemed quite happy about that. Then the electricity bill arrived, which showed that the tenants had pushed it to $1,500 while staying at the Airbnb. Ashley decided to check the outdoor camera at the property for any clues. She saw the guests hauling in at least 10 computers and installing an electric vehicle charging point. It turned out that the computers were used to mine crypto during the guests' stay. Class said it was cheaper for them to rent a house to pay for that electricity. She has since, though, introduced rules that prohibit crypto mining and electric vehicle charging at her Airbnb properties. Class said in a TikTok video that she messaged the guests to inform them that they will be charged for the bill. The crypto miners initially refused until she showed Airbnb and shared documentation proving the bill. The culprits then admitted what they'd done, claiming they'd made $100,000 during their stay, and so $1,500 doesn't seem like much in comparison. People who rent Airbnbs are never happy. Don't crypto mine. Clean up after yourself. That sort of thing is immoral. Sounds like some of these freeloaders should go back to ripping off long-term renters. It's surprising you don't have a lisp, love. According to UPI, a Texas woman was awarded a Guinness World Records title for having a 3.11-inch wide tongue. Brittany Laceo told the record-keeping organisation she decided to apply for the title after learning about the former record holder Emily Schlenker, whose tongue only measured a paltry 2.89 inches wide. Laceo's tongue is exactly as wide as the average length of an adult woman's tongue, 3.11 inches. It's actually wider than it is long when it's measured from the epiglottis. It's not, however, the all-human record, which belongs to American Brian Thompson, whose tongue measures 3.49 inches wide. Wow, you can lick 6 yogurt pots at once. Or the base of an entire little family-sized lasagna in one swoop. The possibilities may be endless. If only I could think of other things to do with a massive tongue. No, sir. Our accepted forms of payment are cash or credit. According to the Colorado Sun, a man who was convicted of pointing a gun at a Burger King drive-thru worker who wouldn't accept drugs for payment and later shooting at people elsewhere on the same night has been sentenced to 143 years in prison. Prosecutors who announced the sentence on Thursday said the drive-thru incident was the beginning of a series of crimes Eugene Robertson carried out in the Denver suburb of Aurora on October 17, 2022. Fortunately, no one was wounded, and in April, a jury found Robertson guilty of 17 crimes. Isn't that a whine? Including 8 counts of attempted murder. The sentences for many of the crimes were stacked on top of each other, leading to a long sentence. Robertson had faced a maximum sentence of more than 400 years when he was sentenced on August the 9th. The story continued after Robertson pointed a gun at the drive-thru worker. Prosecutors said he walked into a convenience store across the street and pointed a gun at the head of a clerk. When Robertson saw there was CCTV, he shot at the screen and left, then shot towards 2 people outside in the parking lot. And later that night, a woman who was friends with Robertson called 911 to report that he had fired shots after she refused to open the door of her apartment, where she was with several people. But police spotted Robertson at the woman's apartment complex, where he was hiding in some bushes before he was arrested. I have no argument as to how behind bars this lad needs to be, but a 143-year sentence? Unless he's Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows, he'll be long dead. Just like you can't have 110% effort, you can't have 143 years of a 76.33 years average life expectancy. Who's doing the maths here? Oh, by Jove, they're coming for our mail, Barbara. According to the BBC, a postbox has been closed because snails have been crawling inside and munching the mail. The postbox in Addiston, a remote area of Northumberland, has been out of use since July this year. Royal Mail said a postbox may be temporarily closed due to wildlife infestation and advised its customers to use the nearest convenient one. But Northumberland County Councillor Guy Renner Thompson said, "It serves quite a few houses and farms, and we'd like to get this back open as soon as possible. That postbox has quite a checkered history, because about a year ago it was stolen and Royal Mail had to replace it. Now it's been attacked by a different sort of pest, But even though it's in a remote location, it's surprisingly well used. So I hope Royal Mail find a solution quickly. Ooh, snaily boy. Naughty snails eating everybody's post. Although if I could offer some advice directly to the snails, it would be eat the ones with the return address starting with HMRC. They've never sent me a birthday card, you know. Only letters that make me cry. Out's a dildo if you're brave enough. According to ibtimes.sg, a Tasmanian woman appeared in court on Monday over allegations that she performed a sex act involving a live brown trout on a boat after video footage of the incident went viral online. As reported by the Mercury, Catherine June Lee, 58, from the state's south, appeared in Hobart Magistrates Court on Monday. She's facing 3 charges under the Publications, Films and Computer Games Enforcement Act. One count relates to possessing a bestiality product between February 2022 and January 2023, and 2 counts for making or reproducing a bestiality product during the same period. The video in question, which went viral on social media and earned Lee the nickname Tassie Trout Lady, showed her lying on a boat whilst the man allegedly used a live trout to perform a sexual act on her. The video sparked significant public outrage, not surprised, and prompted police investigations. Authorities at the time reminded the public that possessing or distributing the video was a criminal offence. How much other weird fetish sex stuff must you have gone through if you're messing about with a fish on video? Why don't you stick to whips and gimp masks and pegging like normal people? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Don't mess with wasps. According to the BBC, a man was stung 160 times by wasps after the insects were disturbed and invaded his home. Andrew Powell, 57, says he hasn't been able to sleep due to the pain since the attack on Sunday, which left him needing hospital treatment. The festival organiser from Brecon said the sky turned brown with the wasps after a local farmer's combine harvester disturbed a nest in a field. Mr. Powell said, "I stumbled about the front of the house and into the shower, but they followed me in and stung me through my clothes in the shower. The bathroom was full of them." No! Mr. Powell said he was stung 15 times to the back of the head, but managed to avoid getting stung in his face. "I was running fast," he said. Then his friend Richard, who lives nearby, drove him straight to the minor injuries unit at Brecon War Memorial Hospital. He further said, "I was dropping in and out of consciousness. All I could see was a white light and thought, here we go." He said the nurses were amazing and gave him adrenaline, morphine and cocodamol for the pain. He said, "If they hadn't, then I'd be dead." Mr. Powell is now recovering at home on the outskirts of town and said, "I feel really quite weak and tired because I haven't slept since it happened because there's too much pain. The stings have got worse and turned purple. Sting time for Hitler." That's the problem with wasps, innit? They're gluttons for inflicting pain. Not like a nice bumblebee who commits hara-kiri when it goes for the sting, no. They'll stove you in soon as look at you. Like racists with their wife soon as England lose another football match. Ooh, don't get all snippy on me. According to The Independent, Japan's new Chitose airport in Hokkaido experienced major disruptions after a pair of scissors went missing from a store near the boarding gates on Saturday. The security checks were halted for about 2 hours in the morning, leading to the cancellation of 36 flights and the delay of 201 others, which left thousands of travellers stranded. Passengers reportedly had to retake security screenings due to the missing pair of scissors. This was all on a particularly busy day as people were returning home after the Bon holiday, a traditional Japanese festival celebrated to honour deceased ancestors. A store in the departure lounge misplaced the scissors, but the pair of scissors was found the next day in the same store by a worker. But the airport only announced their recovery on Monday after verifying that they were indeed the lost pair. Many affected travellers expressed their frustration, with one traveller saying, "I don't think we have any choice but to wait, but I do hope they are a bit more careful about it." And a spokesperson for the airport was quoted as saying by the BBC, "We recognise that this occurred as a result of insufficient storage and management systems at the store. Around 30 passengers were forced to spend the night at the airport due to disruption to flights. But to accommodate them, the airport reportedly provided sleeping bags and mats on the 4th floor of the terminal. So it's like a sleepover with Planos." Scissors aren't exactly an offensive weapon. Surely they wouldn't do that much damage on an aircraft. Certainly the ones I've in my kitchen drawer can only just cut bits of thread hanging off my twice-worn Star Trek shirt. I'd be better off trying to pillow fight someone to death. I'm not into spiritual stones, but this one might work. According to mustsharenews.com, a 52-year-old office manager visited a police station in Fantong district in Chonburi province with his bullet-ridden car to report an incident regarding an attempted murder. This was from Thai news site Kosa. Mr. Payuk Sak, whose name was transliterated from Thai, was shot at more than 10 times whilst he was in his car. Unexpectedly, the man survived without any injuries. The incident occurred at a U-turn near a gas station. The gunman reportedly drove alongside Mr. Payuk Sak and fired at him, riddling his car with several bullet holes. Upon investigation of the car, the police found 11mm bullets scattered on the floor of the driver's seat. And whilst there were multiple bullet marks in his car, none of the bullets caused Mr. Payuk Sak any injury. One of the bullets even hit his wristwatch, causing it to shatter, but Mr. Payuk Sak remained unscathed. And whilst talking to the press, he said that it was only because of an amulet he got from a temple in Trang province. He said he had worn it for over 40 years and believed it protected him from being hurt in the shooting. When asked about the person responsible for the shooting, Mr. Payung Sak pinpointed at a former employee at the company where he worked. He shared that he'd found out that the former employee had been embezzling funds from the company's financial account, siphoning over 12 million baht over 2 years. He reported this to the CEO and had the employee fired. The 34-year-old former employee had reportedly found out that he was responsible. And at one point, she'd come up to Mr. Payung Sak and insulted him, so he was sure that she had hired a gunman to kill him. That's a leap. He did, however, add that he had never had any enemies or conflicts with anyone before. The police are currently investigating details about the suspect, and if they find any involvement or wrongdoing, legal action will be taken. Well, that is the job of the police. Top tip then. If you find your co-workers embezzling company funds and don't want to suffer at the hands of a generously paid hitman, make sure you've bought a souvenir spiritual rock 40 years ago. I've got a better idea. Hire another hitman to get rid of the first hitman. Then start a crime family. With drugs, and sex, and power! What? No company shares or a gold clock? According to the BBC, a shop assistant in Guernsey has been awarded 40 sausage rolls for 40 years of service. 56-year-old Kevin Parsons started working at the island's Alliance supermarket in 1984. Bosses marked the anniversary by giving him a certificate, a tropical-themed mural for his home, and a sausage roll for each of his next 40 shifts. Mr. Parsons, who was described as an Alliance celebrity by his bosses, said words could not express my appreciation for its gifts. And when staff and bosses gathered to mark the occasion with a ceremony in the store on Monday, Mr. Parsons said, "It's been a long 40 years, but I've loved every minute of it." And commercial director Lauren Golden said the response to a Facebook post about Mr. Parsons' anniversary proved how well he was adored. She said, "We sense that here. We are the same. For us it's great. We're a local independent retailer, and Kevin represents that." I don't want to take it away from the guy, but 40 years at the same place seems like a life frittered away. It's like those people who say they only holiday in the UK because they don't want the hassle of airports. Have you ever tried a pad thai, Darren? It's f***ing transcendent. The Ghost Karate Kid crossover no one asked for. According to The Independent, a karate expert in Japan who broke a haunted houseworker's jaw with a kick in 2011 has lost his lawsuit against an amusement park. The man, who admitted to drinking before entering the haunted house at Toei Kyoto Studio Park, had argued that the park should have warned visitors that humans acted as ghosts and it should have protected its staff better. The karate expert was startled when a park worker, dressed as a ghost, stepped forward to frighten him. The man, who has not been named, kicked the ghost in the face and later said it was a reflex. The worker then filed a lawsuit seeking compensation, and a settlement was reached in 2015 when the karate expert agreed to pay 10 million yen or £52,534 in damages. He later filed his own lawsuit against the theme park's managing company, arguing that they were responsible for the incident as well and should cover a portion of the damages he had agreed to pay. He said that the park was negligent for not training staff in how to prevent an attack from a visitor, and that he shouldn't have been allowed into the attraction given that he had been drinking. But the Osaka High Court ruled last month that this was an overreaction. The man's kick that broke the worker's jaw went beyond the scope of a reflexive action taken out of sheer fear. And while it's true that the aim of the staff portraying the ghosts is to surprise customers, this can be done with the understood principle that the haunted house is something that can be safely enjoyed. Unlike within the story of a movie or a TV show, the ghosts are not actually attacking customers, so there is no need for them to physically fight back. The court said it is difficult to find any justifiable motive or logical rationale for the karate expert's actions. I once worked at a scare attraction, though no one ever thought about my feelings as I chased him around with a chainsaw. I realise I've got weight issues, but calling me the Texas flame grilled mass of hair kinda struck a nerve. Here are some of my honourable mentions. Here are some of the things that just didn't quite make the cut for whatever reason I decide. Having a bad day? Maybe you get cut. What? A 12-year-old girl from Texas has died after her mum and stepdad attempted to nurse her back to health with smoothies. The gist is, she had some injuries and fell ill at school, but the article says that the injuries weren't related to the school at all. These two people then decided that even though she was basically unresponsive and was led on a wooden pallet at home, they would give her smoothies and vitamins instead of medical attention. They literally only called 911 when she started struggling to breathe. Unsurprisingly and unfortunately, she was pronounced dead shortly after arrival in hospital. The mum and stepdad have both been arrested and charged with injury to a child causing serious bodily injury by omission. Pretty sad to be fair, and for the future, please leave medical treatments to people who don't have a degree in homeopathy and bartending. And my final honourable mention is that a Florida doctor has been banned from performing colonoscopies after not wearing his hearing aid, and whilst the patient was screaming, he didn't notice they weren't fully sedated. He also improperly delegated tasks to his medical tech, who weren't actually qualified to perform them. Dr. Wishwari Prasad has been placed on probation by the State's Board of Medicine and has been fined for the incident and awaits an evaluation of his competency. Sounds like someone who has become complacent and blasé about shoving a camera into someone's rectum. I get it when you're operating a candy floss stand, but when you're operating a 60-foot ring rogerer, I, like most people, need someone who notices that my ring piece is torn asunder. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you do so fancy. Also, if you think there's any news that we might have missed, please get in contact on the email in the description below. Here somewhere. Spread that butter, baby. Whoop. Please also check out our news sources down there in the description, because there's loads of interesting nerdy stuff and it's cool. Eat it up, chew it, taste the news. See you next time for another jam-packed news you might have missed. Wow. Stay gravy.